Hi everyone, it's Lonnie. Welcome to Grace Blossoms for You. Today we are going to create some things that we can fussy cut. And I was inspired by Andrea Nelson Art on YouTube, and she made this dragonfly picture. And so I think I combined a couple of her videos together to make this. But then I got to thinking, why don't we make some that we can fussy cut? So you can use any kind of medium. You don't have to use watercolor, and you don't even have to use watercolor paper. You can use any kind of paper. In fact, I was thinking of doing some more on book page, just because it looks so good. So maybe I will do one on watercolor paper. It just depends on how thick you want your fussy cuts. That's the only deciding factor. Plus I like the way the watercolor looks on book page. So what I do is I start with the black, the center of the dragonfly, and I just make, and I used a totally different brush when I made my other ones. And yeah, this one's a little bit too big, I think, because we are going to want to have a lot of control. And I just got my clean water all black. So I guess I'll have to use dark colors. Alright, let me find a smaller brush here. Alright, it'll have to be this one. It's the smallest one I see. Alright, let's do that again with the black. So if your colors are awake, you should just be able to grab some. So then I just make the head. Maybe. Today, as I film, this is Monday. And generally, I like Mondays. But so far, I'm not getting a lot of cooperation. Okay, I'm going to start over here instead. So there is the head of my dragonfly. Then I'm going to make this little body part where the wings come out of. And then I'm going to make the long thing here. And it's pretty long. It's longer than you might think you want it to be, but and we do need to let this dry, so I just keep making more until everything's pretty much dry. So what I'll do is I'll make a few. Need to leave room for the wings. That's the only thing tricky here. And two, you can make different sizes, which is nice about this project. And two, these are a lot easier to do than I first thought. I was intimidated by the shape of them until I heard Andrea say that the wings are basically the shape of an X. And I thought, how have I not seen that before? So there you go. Thank you, Andrea, for that. Alright, so I'm going to do a couple on the watercolor paper as well. And just doesn't really matter where. Just I sometimes try to make the most use out of my papers so that I don't waste, but when it comes to something that's this shape, then it kind of is unavoidable. You're going to have a little bit of waste here and there. Unless you're really good at placing your objects, which apparently I'm not. Alright, so I want it really really thick, like opaque. So I'm just gonna put on more color. Alright, one more and then we'll hopefully be able to move on to the wings. So I did try a few different types of watercolor. And again, it just depends on how thick you want your final fussy cuts. I don't like them too thin, and I don't really like them too thick either, so you do as you prefer. Like I said, you wouldn't have to do watercolor. You could do this with acrylic paints. You could do it with pencil crayons. Absolutely anything you want. I'm trying not to get too hung up on the shape because we're going to cut them out later anyways. Okay, still not quite dry. So I guess I'll just make a couple more. Okay, I think this one's fairly dry. I was using all kinds of colors, but for myself, I like them better when they were sort of cohesive, like if they were two different shades of the same color. I also like the lighter color on top. I don't know. You do you. You do what you like. Again, just telling you my thinking process. So then I'm just going to make a shape, kind of like a teardrop shape, only elongated. And I'm just going to keep in mind that I have to cut this later, and I don't want it too skinny, but I do want it sort of small so that they do fit nicely on my page. And so then I need one on this side, and I just kind of gauge by eye. I don't measure or anything, just kind of like a flat V on top here. But yeah, once I got going on these, it was a lot of fun, and I made quite a few, so I'm just gonna make this a little bit longer, trying to get them even. All right, then I'm gonna do a darker green, I think. Maybe the one right next to it. A little bit darker. And so this one, how it makes an X is if you keep the angles roughly to an X, it's not too complicated. It's not going to be a large, like a tall X, but it's going to be a relatively short and stout. So yeah, ever since I got the visual concept of what she was saying about they make the shape of an X, I've just been having a heyday making these. So I don't know, it might not be an issue for anybody other than myself, but if it was an issue for you, then maybe that will help you. All right, so there we have a green one. I like it. I'm not done with it yet. I do want to do something with it. Now, some of them, when I made them, I drew on them to get the design of the wings. But then I discovered this fun thing. It may not show up too much on the book page, but when I did it on the watercolor paper, it made this really cool design from my paper towel. So yeah, it's not showing up too terribly much, but there is a little bit of, you can tell there's a little bit of something going on there. Then I'm going to grab a white pen, totally optional. It wouldn't even have to be white. It could be gold. That's what I grabbed first, so I will go with that. And I'm just going to give it a few highlights. Again, I could do this with an acrylic white pen if I had one, but I just grabbed what was first. And if it doesn't really work, I might switch. Could be the paint's still a little wet too. Just a little design. Alright, so then I want to use a thick black pen. Sharpie would be good. A brush pen would be nice. That's what I used before. But this permanent marker should be fine too. Then I'm just going to outline where I want to cut. And the paint is still a little wet, so it's giving me a bit of an issue here. So I don't really want any white showing in between, so I'm just going to keep going till I get the shape that I'm happy with. I can always cut it in on the inside of the black line if I want to make it smaller, or I can cut it on the outside of the black line. Very versatile. And this pen may not be the greatest. But it will do. Alright, so I'm not going to put any eyes on this one, but that's basically how you do it. Should we do another one with different color? I've got all these drawn, may as well. So I also like to use my metallics. Now they are a little on the bold side. The way I was doing them opaque as well. So let me see if I can duplicate that one with the pretty design on it from the napkin. Or from the, paper towel, sorry. I don't know what other paper would give you a nice design. Maybe you have another one. And then I have to remember what color I used. Yeah, so hope you had a good August. It's September now, and with that comes a whole bunch of new stuff, I guess. Things don't stop, they just keep going. So for this paper towel trick that I'm going to do, it's, I guess, important to know that your paint has to be somewhat wet. Otherwise, the paper towel has nothing to pick up on. See how quick that was? I wasn't even really trying. There, that was trying. I just like that better because it saves me a whole bunch of time as opposed to this example here where I started. I first drew in some, I'll bring it up for you so you can see better. I started drawing black lines. Hopefully you can see. And then I did segments in black. And then I did, for extra texture, I put white pen to fill in those black sections. And while I like that, it took a really long time. So I also like this design, and it doesn't take nearly as long. So I just opted for that. And then I will move to the next blue. And I'm not sure if this will be darker or not. I think this will be more of a teal. And then again, just keeping in mind the X shape here. Yes, I was the one that used to worry about the angles of the wings. And I think that's why I got hung up on it. So I did not do very much at all with dragonflies. And too, like I said, you can make these different sizes, different colors. You can use different papers. You can use them for different projects. I was thinking it would be a fun page to just paste a whole bunch of different ones. Or what I might do is paint a whole bunch on a page, take a picture of it, scan it into my computer, and make that a page in itself. That would be my own work, and it would not be subject to somebody else's copyright rules. So I think that's a good option. And I think I just smudged that, but even if I did, that's okay because we're going to cut it out. Alright, so then the only thing I do like to do here after the paper towel trick is just to come back in and give it an outline. Now, that's probably unnecessary because I'm going to outline the whole thing in black anyways, but it just helps. And then if I'm not completely happy with the design of the paper towel, I just do something like that, which gives it a little something extra there. Again, you can decorate these however you like. Make polka dot ones. I know some people really love polka dots. Okay, so let's keep going. I'll do a few more and I'll speed it up. Okay, hopefully this one's dry enough that I can... I think the pen is kind of run out. It's okay. I could do that in watercolor ink as well. I just figured the pen would dry faster. I have this pen. Let's see if it does any better than that gold one. Not bad. Might as well just do this too. I don't know, sometimes it gives a shine and sometimes it doesn't. Okay. good enough. And then, I mean, yeah, you could also outline it in any color you wanted. It wouldn't have to be black. I just was hoping that it would save me from having to ink everything later. But sometimes the white edge of the paper shows and then I still ink it. Okay, so it doesn't look wonderful right now. And maybe this one is a little bit too dark yet, so you could go in and lighten it up with some white. However you want to finish those up. So, oops, I forgot a couple. Oh well. So I'm just going to cut these out and then I'll be right back. Okay, there's one. So I put them too close. I may not be able to get the right size wing on there. Okay, there's another. And last one. Okay, so once they are cut out, they look even better. They look so clean and crisp. It's amazing. Alright, so those are the ones we made today, and I will show you the ones I made the other day. So many of them. There's the one on book page. There's this one with metallics. I like it. I mean, it would, you know, it is what it is. If you like that look, then you'll like these. If you're not, then don't do that. Here's one where I added some gold lines because I thought it was a little bit too light. And another one on book page. There's one where I painted some lines in because it was a little too light at the end. This one I did with paper towel. Here's a silver and dark silver and 2 shades of gold. The gold ones I think are my least favorite, which really surprised me because normally I just love gold so much. And then 2 shades of purple. And they did get a little big on me, so I had to rein myself back in because I was having so much fun. And yeah, another silver one. So that's just a whole bunch of fun. And to add some versatility, you could even use these to make tuck spots. Depending on how you arrange them on a page, you might be able to just glue down the centers of them, and then they could maybe overlap a bit, and then that could become a tuck spot. Just thinking out loud. And then of course you could decorate pockets. In fact, that looks kind of cool when they overlap like that. Alright, give me some ideas. What would you do with them? And thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.